library on Treaty 6 territory in the traditional homeland of the Métis. I'm here with you today, and I would like to share a story laboratory with you. So, how story laboratories work, you've probably seen them, but if not, is I'll read a book and then we have an activity. So, the book I have for you today is called The Fate of Fausto. The Fate of Fausto, a painted fable by Oliver Jeffers. Now, Oliver Jeffers writes the words and draws the pictures, and the pictures that he draws are marvelous. So definitely, if you can, take the book out from the library and have a look at the pictures. But I wanted to try something a little different today. So I made the book into a stop motion video. I made some characters out of felt, and then how stop motion works, it's something you could probably do if you have a phone at home that takes pictures or a camera that takes pictures, is you take a whole bunch of pictures, and every time you just move the things in the picture just a little bit. So I would move my character just a tiny bit, and then we put all those pictures together, and it makes like the character is moving, just like a regular movie. This is new for me. It's something I've never done before, but I thought it would be a really fun story, a fable, to do that with. So I hope you enjoy it. Here it is, and at the end, we're going to make our own fable, or we're going to talk about how you can do that. So enjoy the story of The Fate of Fausto, a painted fable by Oliver Jeffers, and then we'll make our own fable. Enjoy! The Fate of Fausto, a painted fable by Oliver Jeffers. There once was a man who believed he owned everything and set out to survey what was his. "You are mine," Fausto said to the flower. "Yes," said the flower, "I am yours." Content, Fausto walked on. "You are mine," he said to the sheep. "Yes," said the sheep, "I suppose I am." Feeling satisfied, Fausto walked on. Next, Fausto came upon a tree and declared, "Tree, you are mine!" To which the tree replied, "Oh, all right, I can be yours." And the tree bowed before the man. This pleased Fausto, and he walked on, happy to be owning a sheep, a flower, and his tree. Before long, Fausto had claimed a field and a forest and a lake. At first, the lake pretended not to hear. But Fausto showed that lake who was boss. When he reached a mountain, Fausto said in a clear voice, "Mountain, you are mine." "No," said the mountain, "I am my own." This angered Fausto, and he stamped his foot and made a fist. Still, the mountain would not move. But Fausto put up such a fight you would not believe, and showed the mountain who was boss. Eventually, the mountain bowed before Fausto and said, "Yes, you are in charge. I am yours." Feeling very satisfied and important, Fausto easily conquered a boat and set off to sea. For a mountain,
a lake, a forest, a field, a tree, a sheep, and a flower were not enough for him. When he had got far enough from shore, Fausto said in a loud voice, "See, you are mine!" But the sea was silent. "You belong to me, sea! I know you can hear me," said Fausto, louder still. After a while, the sea said quietly, "You do not own me." "You are wrong. I do," Fausto replied. Unsure which way to look, for the voice appeared to come from everywhere. "But you do not even love me," said the sea. "You are wrong again," said the man. "I love you very much." But Fausto was lying, and the sea knew it. "How can you love me when you do not understand me?" the sea asked Fausto. "You are wrong a third time," said Fausto. "I understand you deeply." Then added, feeling impatient, "Now admit you are mine, or I will show you who is boss." "And how will you do that?" asked the sea. "I will stamp my foot and make a fist." "If you wish to stamp your foot, then come show me how it is done, so I understand." And in order to show his anger and importance, Fausto climbed overboard to stamp his foot on the sea. But he did not understand, and he did not know how to swim. The sea was sad for him, but carried on being the sea. The mountain, too, went back to its business. And the lake and the forest and the field and the tree and the sheep and the flower carried on as before. For the fate of Fausto did not matter to them.
All right, that was A Fate of Fausto, a painted fable by Oliver Jeffers. I think you've heard that a few times now. So, what is a fable? It's kind of not a word that we talk about a lot, but a fable, you might have an idea, but if not, I had to sort of think about it. A fable is a story that usually the characters are animals, but it doesn't have to be. In A Fate of Fausto, the character, there was a person character, and then the other characters, well, there was the sheep, that was an animal, but the other things was the sea and the mountain and the tree and the flower and the lake and the field. And those aren't animals, but they are the characters in the story, weren't they? Especially the sea and the mountain, they talked quite a bit. So it's a story using, could be animals or something, and then it has a moral. So what is a moral? A moral is sort of like a lesson or something that is you think about the way you should behave. A lesson in how people should act or behave. So some famous fables, if you think about it, what's a story? Think about this. Do you know any stories with usually animals as characters where there's a lesson about how we should act? So a really famous one is The Tortoise and the Hare. And, you know, where the hare says, "Oh, I'm super fast. I can go way faster than the tortoise." And the tortoise, they have a race, but the hare, which is like a rabbit, you might know it as the rabbit and the turtle or the tortoise. The rabbit thinks it'll win no matter what, so he takes a nap, right? And then the tortoise ends up winning. And the moral there is slow and steady wins the race, right? If you just keep trying, eventually you'll win. So trying's really important. So what's another famous one? Let me think. Oh, the ant and the grasshopper. Do you know that one? If you don't, definitely look it up. It's a really good story where you can work hard and then you can play hard, right? So the ant worked hard all summer long and then had a good life in the winter. The grasshopper wanted to just party and then wasn't prepared for winter. What's another one? Oh, the dog and his shadow. The dog has a piece of meat, and it's not a shadow; it's a reflection. And the dog has a piece of meat, and it's super happy. But then goes and gets to get a drink of water, and sees its reflection in the water, but thinks it's another dog with a more meat in its mouth. So the dog opens its mouth to try to bite the other dog's meat, which is actually just its own meat, and then loses its meat. So the moral there is to be happy with what you have, right? So, there's so many. There's so many fables. Aesop's fables is probably the most famous collection of them, but there's tons. So what I thought would be fun is to write our own, or at least come up with a plan of how we could write our own. So the first step is think about what lesson would you like to teach. So most of the time these lessons are sort of big universal things like keep trying or, be nice to other people or some of those bigger things. So if we could think of what's a lesson, you could think of a lesson in your house that would be really important, like maybe clean up after yourself or be helpful. So think of a lesson that would be good to share with others. So, and then I'm going to say clean up after yourself. Then the next thing we'll try is to add characters. So what could be some characters? I'm gonna go with, now remember, Oliver Jeffers used like mountains and the ocean and trees, but you could also use animals. Usually not actual people, because it's fun to just imagine other animals, and sometimes those animals have certain character traits, so we can talk about that. So what's some animals? I'm going to use clean up after yourself, and my animals are going to be little birds, like chickadees. That's what, chickadee and mice, okay? So those are my characters, mice and chickadees, because I have lots of birds outside my window, and I like to feed the birds. And I notice they're quite messy. So first thing, moral. Second thing, characters. Now the third step in coming up with your own fable is, what are the traits of those characters? So a character trait is what makes them them. So it could be anything. So someone might say, oh, a character trait for you is that you're very happy, or you're energetic, or maybe that you try really hard, or it could be that you are really good at sports, or sometimes they're bad things though too. So sometimes they could be like the character is greedy, or the character is maybe something that is, maybe they don't listen, or they are boastful. That means they think they're really good, and they tell people all the time how good they are. Something like that. So those are character traits. It could be good things, or it could be not so good things. So we have to come up. So for me, for my fable that I'm going to come up with, the chickadees and the mouse. So the chickadees maybe they are very wasteful with their food, and they put their food all over. They only pick out their favorite pieces of the food, and they waste a whole bunch. They throw it all around on the ground. So they're wasteful. And so, but the mouse, I'm going to say the trait of the mice are that they are not wasteful, the opposite. So that's something you can do. So I'm going to say the mice, the trait of the mice is that they are careful and they don't waste. They're very careful with waste. Okay, so then the next step is to come up with a beginning, middle, and end. And that's how you write a story, right? So here, I'm just coming up with it in my head. And if you know how to write, you can write the story down, or you can get somebody to help you that does know how to write. But if you don't know how to write, there's a long tradition, or you don't want to write it down, there's a very long tradition. Most stories in history were just told stories. So if you can come up with a story and think of a way to tell it and just tell it, then you have a story forever in your head that you can share. And that's how forever stories were just told and shared. I tell you a story, and then you tell someone else. So let me think about this chickadee story. Once there was a whole bunch of chickadees, and the chickadees, they thought they owned the yard. They would eat all the food that was put out on a daily basis. And not only that, they didn't just eat what they liked. They just picked only the bits of food that they liked. And they threw the other on the ground. They wasted it. Now, one day, food wasn't put out. There was no food. It had run out. The people who always filled the bird feeder must have gone away. Oh, and the poor little chickadees, they were so hungry. Their tiny little feet were very cold, and they were hungry, and they puffed up their feathers, and they thought, what should we do? What should we do? And then they saw the very quiet mouse come and get some food from the ground. And they said, "Oh, mouse, what are you doing taking our food?" And the mouse said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know this was your food. I have been storing this food so that I can get through winter every day." And the birds realized that they had made a mistake because they were so hungry. They shouldn't have wasted all their food by only throwing so much of it on the ground. And the mice were well fed and happy all winter long. So that's just a little story that I made up. And if I kept telling it, I would make it better and better. Every time I would come up with more character traits and maybe better voices for the animals. Maybe the chickadees might sound like this. And maybe the mice might sound like this. Or the opposite, or anything at all. So step 1, come up with the lesson you want to teach. Step 2, come up with the characters. Step 3, come up with the character traits. Step 4, tell the story. So that's how to make a fable. Have a great day. Thanks.